Hey there! Welcome back. This is Module 3, and we're going to talk about finding your belief. Everything that we just talked about in Module 1 with mission and finding your mission and getting excited about knowing your why and applying that to your life, I hope you've started to explore and think about the different ways that that can affect your short-term decisions and your long-term vision, and start to think about the ways that that can inform your message and get excited about how that will help you have a mindset of collaborating with people, and that's going to draw your community and help you resonate with the right people that you want to be around, that you want to help and serve and live life with, right? And then in Module 2, we talked about knowing your enemy and moving away from fear and staying away from ego, but operating out of this place of love and service, and fighting against an enemy, because then what you do really matters and you emotionally engage it, and that enemy and that mission can become bigger than your fear. And that, I believe, is part of what will let you start to level up and to really grow and just get into this positive spiral. Okay, so everything we just talked about, the next step is for you to start to believe that it is possible. So I want to talk about some things that, and the whole point of this is we're going to talk about things that you are going to start to believe, and how thinking about those things and feeling that way and writing down these ideas and doing these exercises is going to increase your belief and your faith. It's going to build your faith that all of this is possible, that the success stories that you've seen can happen for you, that whatever your goals are, financial goals are for your family, that can happen, that you can, retire your husband or homeschool your kids. But those are my goals, that, and it makes me smile, right? I want you to think about, as part of your mission and your enemy and everything that we've kind of talked about, think about some goals big enough. I talked some about big goals. Think about some big goals that just get you giddy, like that you just like start to get excited. Like when you start to put faith to your creative idea, when you like start to really want something and be hopeful that it's possible, and then yeah, the hope and the faith and the belief, when it all comes together, when you start to believe that that goal could happen, that that is where we want to be. That is where we want to go. That is, it literally, it unlocks something spiritual. I just believe that there is a whole energetic layer to the world that responds to what you put out, and the way that you approach everything is going to change, is going to affect what you get back. So this all builds. In the next module, we're going to talk about permission, which is super exciting. But in order to talk about that, we've got to work through with you this idea of believing that it's possible. So I want you to do some journaling about doubts that you have and objections that you have about embracing your mission, and about accomplishing your goals, and about pursuing your dreams. What is it that keeps you from thinking that it's possible? I want you to journal and write down some of those things. And then I want you to schedule time to do a visualization exercise, and I want you to imagine that future that you're picturing. Imagine yourself on that adventure. Imagine yourself where your business is successfully engaging that mission that you're so passionate about. Think about the faces of individual people who need you to help them fight that enemy that is your shared enemy. And I want you to think about what that looks like. I want you to feel the emotions of how you will feel successfully doing those things and being that person. And then I want you to be grateful for the fact that that's going to happen. you're going to be that person. Your business is going to go to that place. You're going to help people fight that enemy in their lives. I want you to think about what the next, like if they fight that enemy, think about somebody that you know that's a current client or customer or somebody in your community that's shared something. And then in response to that, you created content to help them address that thing. Imagine them conquering that thing and going to the next level. And then imagine you reaching your financial goals because you're able to provide that value and make, give them that transformation in their life and help them to go to the next level in their life, in their business, in their marriage, whatever that is for them. Imagine that you're meeting your financial goals. Imagine you're meeting your emotional goals. Picture yourself being so incredibly fulfilled and grateful that you're able to live this life. Imagine, think about your values, whatever is important, your marriage, your kids. Picture your marriage being amazing and your spouse being supportive and your family, your kids having quality time with you and you having an amazing relationship with them. Imagine your relationship with your clients being everything that you envision it being. Imagine this world that you want to exist. When you did the exercise, if you haven't yet, do the exercise where you say, I want to live in a world where, think about that. Write down those things. Imagine yourself contributing and making the world more of what you want the world to be. I hope that these videos so far, that listening to me and doing these exercises is how you are feeling this like rising feeling of faith and hope. And the more that you have hope, the more you start to have faith, and the more that you love others and that you get the impact and you see the result, the more you get confidence in your own ability to make this all happen, the more you deal with fear and you focus on love and you focus on doing the work. It's all a positive cycle, and you need to both do it on a daily basis and, every day wake up and ask yourself, what am I grateful for? What am I excited about? What am I committed to making happen today? Who am I committed to being today? And then, every night, and you may not do this every morning or every night. Don't let that, when I talk right now, don't let your brain get into this like, oh, I can never remember to do that. I'm painting a picture. It's not about every day. It's about having this mindset and thinking this way. Thinking as if every evening you're asking yourself, what did I contribute to? What did I make happen? How did I fight, my enemy? How did I, tap into my compelling reason? How did I become the person that I want to become? Have that mindset. Everything that I'm saying to you, this is going to grow your faith, and the purpose of today's topic, belief, is that you must do things to start to foster the belief in yourself that what you want to do is possible. You may hear people say this and that and the other about positive affirmations or positive thinking. The way that I best heard it said recently is that it's not about the words. You can't just say the words. You can't just say, I'm going to be happy and I love my family and my business is going to get to X amount of money this year and I'm going to get a new client next week and whatever. You can't just say the words. You have to tie it to your emotion and how you feel about that thing happening. And then you need to wrap that in faith that you're choosing to believe and envision that that's going to happen. And then what I found really was just an unlock for me when I was doing this exercise and going through this transformation for me was, I just remember the first couple times I did this exercise where it was the summer before I quit my job and I was starting to write out what I pictured in the future, how I wanted it to be. And I was doing this exercise in this book and it said to write out what you want the future to look like. Now get excited about the fact that that possibility exists and is possible to happen for you. All you need to do is map out the steps to walk toward it. Believe so strongly in the fact that it's possible, which I had mapped out something that was like would be hard, but I knew it was possible. I think if you ask yourself, I think you can set really big dreams for yourself and say, yeah, that's possible. I could do that. And for most of it's like, I just don't know how to get from here to there. But if you start with that, and that was where I started, was like, write out a really compelling future that's really exciting, and then think about the fact that you believe that's possible. And then she said, be intensely grateful for the fact that it's going to happen. And basically, what that did for me is that just unlocked this belief that I had influence and ownership and that I had control and that I could do something about where I was, because I wasn't happy where I was and I had bought into the lie that I was stuck. Like I felt in a box and I felt like I wasn't growing. I just felt stuck and I felt like I didn't have a choice because everybody told me that I had it good and that I should be happy and I wasn't. And so I went through a whole season where I just felt guilty and like I should just be happy and I just couldn't, right? So if you felt that way, yeah, I think we've all felt that way. Like we've all been there. So what really unlocked that for me was just this belief in the fact that it was possible, and then belief in the fact that it was going to happen. And if that's a difficult step to take, I find that gratitude is kind of a back door to that emotion and that feeling. And so it's just a really powerful, interesting thing to be grateful for this big, crazy dream that you know is possible. Be grateful that it's going to happen. And I say that I think all it really takes is just a little bit more of a leap of faith. All you're having to do there is you're having to take the leap of faith that says, I choose to believe that that thing that I don't know, which is how to get from here to there, I choose to believe that that can be figured out. I'm going to figure that out. There's going to be a way. There's going to be a way that this big crazy thing that's super exciting to me, this compelling future that I know is possible but hard, I'm going to choose to believe that if I just decide that I want to do it and I focus on it, that I can have it. And so I'm going to choose to see that as my future. And so I'm going to be grateful. Grateful as if it has already happened and I've already taken hold of that compelling future, that vision that I'm creating for my life. That was the mental exercise that I did. It unlocked something in me. It activated me. And it set me on a path to quit my job, to seek out the people and the resources that I needed, to go to a conference that was kind of my second, it was like my next level of unlocking on a new level. And now I'm here. I have coaching clients. Like, that's like a lifelong dream that was dormant for 8 years. And now I've got coaching clients. And it took a bit of giving myself permission to let my dream be what I really wanted it to be instead of kind of a shadow version of it that I felt I did, was acceptable or was, like could more easily give myself permission to be. So we're about to get into that video about permission, which is one of my favorites because it's so tied to this idea of growth and taking action. But that's a bit about my story. I want to challenge you to press into this idea of believing that all of this is possible. As we continue to go forward, if you're working with me, if you're working with a coach, whatever it is that you're pressing forward on, that you're trying to do, if you're doing it out of service to improve the mental, emotional health of you and mental, just the holistic well-being of unapologetically pursuing a full and vibrant life, if you have a vision that helps you do that and helps that be, full, abundant living, a fully abundant, awake, charged life for you, for your family, and it doesn't hurt anybody, which I'm sure it doesn't. If that's your vision, if that's what you want, stop apologizing for it. Don't be apologetic. Don't be a victim. Start to take ownership of that vision. I believe we have gifts and calling and vision and mission that are partly in us, from when we're born, but then partly that I believe that we all just learn and grow and develop it, and it gets nuanced as we experience whatever it is that we experience in life, and that there's power in finding that and owning that. And the step that you've got to take before you go to the next video is to embrace that process of believing that it is possible. If you set goals but you really don't think they're possible, or if you start a business but you really don't think it's possible, no, that's not what we're going to do, because we're going to be successful. And to be successful, a strategic part of that is to cultivate the faith and hope and the belief that it's possible. So I think possible is a powerful word. If this is tricky for you, if this is challenging, I want you to just rest in that. Rest. Don't strive. This is not about striving. I know I make this like, oh, you got to do this, and so I don't want you to feel like it's easy to feel like, oh, okay, I got to, I can do this. I can make this. I can, I got to think this way. I got to write this down. Relax. Don't strive. Be at peace. If this is challenging, think about what's possible and get excited and just explore. And this is an okay time to do some research. If you heard about a tool, like if I found Dubsado and I was like, oh my gosh, for not very much a month, now I can invoice people and they pay me money. And that was like a technical thing that just got me unstuck on something, right? So if there are things that you just feel like you're stuck because you don't know what to do, I want to challenge you to believe that it's possible, that there's a solution. So if you're stuck on things, or you feel like there are things that are giving you pressure or stress, or that are stopping you from taking an action you want to take, I want to challenge you to find time to just research that and dig into the possibilities and to think about what's possible and get excited about the potential for your goal, for whatever it is that your goal is, whatever it is that your dream is. Whatever your next 2 to 3 month goal for your business, think about that being possible, and then get your brain. What's so powerful about the gratitude and the believing it, and if you ever heard people talk about writing down your dreams and then writing down your goals or your big dreams, and then writing them in the present tense every day. And so, I am an author. I have a business. I have whatever it is that's like things that are not true but that you want to be true. When you write them in the present tense, that puts your brain into this creative place of thinking about what it would take to make that happen. And that's where you want to be, and that's where you get the creative ideas. And when you build all of this out of a passion to serve the world and yourself and your family, then it all just comes together in this incredible kind of synergy in your life. So, all right, I'm excited to talk about permission. So, let's move on to that. Thanks again for being here. I am really proud of you. I know this is a lot, and I also want to say if you get emotional, if there are some tears in some of your journaling, I want to encourage you to embrace the feeling, embrace the emotion, embrace the process, let that come. I didn't cry for years, and then I've cried frequently over the last few months, and it's been because, and they were mostly very good. A few were where it was hard because I was stuck on something and I was like feeling the fear or whatever, but I had people around me where I said, oh, I'm afraid that I can't figure this out, so nothing else is going to work. And so they helped me, to like switch that around and to get unstuck and whatever. The point is, I've done a lot of crying in the last couple of months, but it's all been short and intense and connected to a thought or a feeling and part of the journey. And it's been part of stopping being dormant and coming alive and starting to grow again and just embracing the process. So I want to encourage you, if you have been in a place where you've been kind of dormant or stuck or not moving forward, and even if you're in doing the work of your business, and even if you think, especially if you're not happy and you feel like something's missing, but everybody around you tells you that you should be fine, you've got everything, do this work, dial in. Sometimes, I love the way Brendan Burchard gives an example in his High Performance Habits book where I think it was early in the book, where he had a client and he talks about talking to her and she seemed to have it all, but she had stopped growing. He was talking about personal development. She had stopped growing and so she was stagnating and everybody told her she should be happy and she felt like she didn't have time to grow. And she like signed up for a course or started to learn something new and it unlocked something for her. And I remember what he said about that was just this idea of, oh crap, I lost my thought. Anyways, the point is that I should move on to the next video. That was my point. If I think of the thought, I will share it in the notes below. But yeah, let's go on and talk about permission, because these two tie together really closely and it all builds, just like the mission and the enemy tie together and kind of reinforce each other. With belief, you've got to take that step, but as you start to believe and you act, the next block that you'll get to that we're going to, tackle together is that you've got to give yourself permission. Permission for a lot of things that you haven't done. All right. See you in the next video.